They've gone so horribly wrong. General Pizzow and all of his men are dead. As far as I can tell, I'm the last one alive.
I was a mild-mannered chemist. I formulated your toothpaste. Then they came, and everything changed for all of us. First, we sent out our bravest, most confident, most handsome diplomat to meet with them. It didn't go well. They call Earth Region 72. They want to capture us, enslave us, and take our planet. If we have anything to say about it, our region will remain free.
They're the best. They're the best.
Come on, man!
They released Monster O.
They're here already! You're next! You're next! You're next!
All right, we are live. Hello and welcome to the holiday edition of Region Free. I'm your old buddy Pizzow. And before we get started and I bring on the rest of the panel, and we have got a loaded house tonight, full house tonight. We're not no set plans tonight, no topics, nothing like that. Tonight is supposed to be really a big thank you to all of you out there who watch the show and enjoy what we do and support what we do and tune in week in and week out and just enjoy our kind of tomfoolery. You find our kind of tomfoolery entertaining, and we appreciate that. So and also a thank you to the kind folks who make up the panel, the great people who help make this show what it is. Really, it's a embarrassment of wealth thinking of all the great, talented, funny, cool people who are a part of this show, who make Region Free. So without further ado, let's bring on the cast. And first, joining me tonight, making a very special appearance. You don't see him on camera very often, so this is a really special event for him. I'm talking about Saint Nick himself. Santa is here. Santa, how are you tonight?
I am doing well, Pizzow. How are you, sir?
Doing good. I've been nice all year. I was only mildly naughty a couple of times, but I atoned. So I'm doing good. Thanks for being here.
Everybody gets a pass this year. All of Santa's wrath is going towards Jason Blum.
Oh man, that is
Yes.
Damn.
I don't care if you kill anybody. His sins, wash it out.
All right, cool. Well, Santa, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. The suit is looking very, very
Yes.
crisp, very, very dapper.
Very
you know?
crisp. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
The elves did a good job on it. I'm impressed.
What's that the kids say nowadays? It's on fleek, right?
Exactly. On fleek.
There you go. Santa's on fleek.
Yes.
Also joining me tonight, returning after quite a hiatus. This is a Christmas miracle. He came into town just for Christmas, and that's Monty. What's up, Monty?
Yes, this is Santa. I rode in with Santa on his sleigh, and I decided to grace you lovely people with my presence tonight. And let's crack some jokes and have some fun.
Right on,
Of course,
man.
I've been naughty. I'm always naughty. That's how I live.
Well, yeah, luckily this year Santa's letting things slide.
Yeah, he's letting things slide this year. I don't know. I deserve, but never mind. I won't say anything else.
No punishment for you
No,
this year.
naughty.
Mm-hmm.
You're good. True evil dies on Christmas Eve.
Right.
But it's good to see you, Monty. Good to see you, man.
Biz.
Also joining me tonight, making a return after some downtime. Porter Susan, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. I'm so excited to be here. I have kind of gone off the radar, off grid for a little bit. I don't know if anybody out there who watches or anything has had kind of the holiday sadness or whatever. But my heart goes out to you because I kind of had that, but trying to come back. And this is like the perfect way to do it because you guys are just so amazing. And just like, since this is the end of the year and everything, you guys have totally, really, really helped me and made my 2021 so much better than it would have been. So thanks to everybody on the panel and to everybody watching. You guys are all awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. But I'm glad to see you back in the fold. You're looking very, merry and festive and Yulish.
With my dog's toys.
Mm-hmm. It's looking good.
Yeah.
Oh, Nico, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. Hi, all. I'll be there in class in 30 with pizza. Very nice. Thank you, Nico. Appreciate that, man. Also joining me tonight, we've only got her for a short time. She flew into town just to get drunk, and then she's going and she's leaving. That's Aunt Sam for us all. Sam, how's it going?
That's very correct. I'm
there
definitely
she
the
is.
drunk aunt. I mean, not as drunk as I used to be, but I'm working my way back up.
Okay.
Also, here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus coming down Reed-Free Lane. I had to say it because it was stuck in my head.
I had to fight my evil brother Balls Mahoney to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Lord,
Anybody
I'm
that
glad
doesn't
I
know
wasn't-
wrestling is very confused right now.
Oh man, well, I'm just happy to be with y'all. Because I pretty much met everybody brand spanking new this year, and it's been so cool getting to know everybody. I'm pretty much echoing everything Susan said because I was just like watching that. I'm like, yep, 100%, yep. But it's been amazing, and I'm so glad that I get to be part of this really awesome community. Everybody in the chat's badass. Everybody I get to stream with is badass. You're all a bunch of badasses, and no coal for y'all. I'll put in a good word with Santa Claus.
That's
There
what
you
I
go.
should have named this stream, the badass holiday stream. The badass holiday show or something. But good to see you, Sam.
Good to see you guys as always.
Rocking the Mickey or the mini ears.
I'm the Christmas mouse, except I'm the Christmas mouse that doesn't do anything but stir and is quite disturbing.
Oh, that rhymes.
I love that energy personally. I'm just saying, I'm here for it.
I love it.
I'm digging the leopards. I'm digging the leopard Santa hat. Those are always the cool ones.
Yeah, right on. Right on.
Oh, thank you. Good.
Also joining us tonight after a short respite, we call him the professor. I believe he was in Switzerland doing some teaching, but he's come home for the holidays. I'm talking about B-Movie Mike. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to be back.
How was Switzerland?
Yeah, cold. Yeah, always, isn't it?
Hmm.
For me, it is anyway. I live in Florida, so anything. below 70 is unacceptable. No, just to echo some of the sentiments, I remember when Pizal contacted me in 2013 with a crazy idea of coming up with some kind of a panel show based around Google Hangouts, and was crazy enough to ask me if I want to be involved. There's only one answer to that, and that's hell yeah, let's do it, right? So here we are, man. I don't know, too many years later, still doing it, different format a little bit, but I think from that little idea to where we are now, we've come a long way. And even though I do miss some of the OGs, just because we all started out together, we've had a constant influx of really good new blood to keep things going. And so, and I really like the way it is now. We have so many people involved that we have fresh perspectives all the time. It's not just me opening my stupid mouth and vomiting all over everybody with words. I do apologize for that. But yeah, I get to be my old curmudgeon, opinionated self, and then we get other opposing viewpoints sometimes, and that's great. And it's good to have the positive with the grumpy. Sometimes when me and Lauren are on at the same time, I realize it can get a bit dark. But we don't really intend it to be that way. So it's nice to have a balance, and it's good that I could be here for the end of the year show to celebrate with everybody.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, Mike. And yeah, shout out to some of the other OGs. We've got Orc in the chat. I know Stingray couldn't make it this week. Raiho, I hope Raiho's having a great holiday season up there in Canada. And yeah, but good to see you, Mike. Also joining me tonight, another one. She's been off the grid for quite some time, but she's made it back in time for the holidays. She brought fruitcake. Oh. All right. Jamie, how's it going?
I would be the one to bring fruitcake. My grandma used to make that every single year and she forced my husband to eat it. I told him not to do it. I said, don't do it. You're going to regret it. My grandfather was sitting next to him going, uh-oh. And my husband actually ate the entire piece while we laughed at him. He later on told me it was terrible. It was terrible. So, yeah.
I forget who the comedian was who was talking about fruitcake, and he was like, is that I forget what he said. It was something funny, like something that shouldn't be in a fruitcake, because they just throw everything into it's like all the junk on the counter, they just throw that into the fruitcake, and
it doesn't even taste good. It's icky. Yeah. But Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's good to see you, Jamie. Welcome back.
I am glad to be back. It's been a while. I haven't been here since Halloween, and then before that it was July. So technically I've only been on twice since July. Quite a hiatus for me, but
it's good to have you back.
I am glad to be here.
Also with me tonight, Christian, Hanna, Hira. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
How are you, man?
Hey, Christian.
Doing good. Second to last is kind of a shitty spot for you to introduce me, but whatever.
I should have had you batting leadoff, right?
No, I like second to last. It's all good.
No, man.
Didn't even send him his
If you're
green
going to be at a
M&Ms.
festival, you don't want to be on first. You want to be toward the end. You don't
That's
want to
right.
be very last because people are too drunk to remember. But that spot right there is pretty sweet.
Yeah. All right, I'll take it. I don't have any. Any sentimental
You're not
stuff
the
to say,
opening
though.
act. You're not the opening act or anything, so you don't have anything to worry about.
see,
You're coming in like strong, right?
Yeah. I don't mind
Your
being the opening
jacket's
act.
cooler than Santa's tonight, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
Nice
you.
jacket.
Yes.
Thank
It's
you.
a nice jacket. But it's good to see you, Christian. Hope you're doing well.
I'm all right.
How's the winter weather down in Louisiana?
It's hot, but my wife keeps the house freezing. It's hot. I'm going to work I'm dressed like Monty to work, just t-shirts, jeans. I mean, it's hot. I'm not even kidding. I haven't busted out any jackets for outside yet. It's nuts, man.
I bust them out in the morning, but by the afternoon on the way home, they're slung over my arm.
Right.
So yeah,
It's crazy. I don't get it.
It was in the 80s down here, but I kind of expect it. It was almost 90 the other day. That's a little warm for December, but really in Florida, you don't really notice. Till it
We've
gets
had a
like,
month.
hey, where'd the heat go? That sucks.
We've had
That
a month
lasts for
full of
about 3
snow.
weeks.
We've had a month full of snow here, but today it was 60 degrees. So it's all over the map here.
Mm.
I can't tell whether I should get my boots and my coat out or if I should be, keeping my shorts and t-shirts out. It's weird.
I'm gonna have a fit. I mean, I'm gonna have a fit if we get another winter weather apocalypse down here, like 2 years in a row.
Yes.
Seriously, it's not gonna, because it's been really hot down here. But my mom, it's like been 80 regularly, I think, most of this week. My mom's running her space heater.
No.
I can't. And
Wait,
she's
is your
like,
mom
I can't
from
turn the heat up.
California?
I'll die.
Is your mom from California?
No, she's from Texas also.
Oh my god. Yeah, here it's really weird. Here it's like 80, and then at night it will be like 39. It's just really strange.
I wish
But
we
it's a
had
little
that
cooler.
even.
It's a little cooler now. But
Can you
I
send
just
some
want
of
to
that
crank up
over here?
I just want to crank up the AC and wear all the sweaters that I really just need to get rid of because I can never wear them.
I'm gonna let me bring in here's the headlining act for tonight.
Drum
for the
roll.
cooking show. The headlining. Lauren, how's it going, Lauren?
The man.
Why was I the only one who had to sit on Santa's lap?
No, you did
You never
not.
did this to Monty.
Yeah.
You're the
how
one
big-
that needed the largest infusion of joy.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
It didn't work.
that's not an infusion.
I'm upset that you let Lauren sit on your lap and I wanted to and you didn't let me.
But
Oh.
he had to pay for that Arrow box set somehow. What are you gonna do?
Oh my god.
We all went into debt on Black Friday.
This is why I can't be a Christian.
How
There's
how
already one Christian here. He's next to you.
that's right. How big was the Yule log?
So that wasn't the disturbing part of it. Wasn't the size. It was that it was on fire. And there's some heat you don't want to be too close to.
Now I have to
Guys.
ask about the Yule log. Did it have the 7 herbs and spices like the KFC one too?
That was a Walmart exclusive last year, I think. Though I think those are all gone because people who shop at Walmart for Yule logs definitely use them. So I don't think there's any more in existence.
If I had seen it, I would have bought one, even though we don't have a fireplace. Throw it in the fire pit, or I'll find a way to light it on fire. I'll put it in the middle of the street. I just want it to smell like KFC.
I saw an end cap of them and I ran.
Listen, if you want, listen, the town that I work in is the birthplace of KFC. Okay, so
Yeah, you went to the first one. I remember
Mhm.
when you guys went. You and Jeremy went to the first one.
So that smell just lingers in the air there, and yeah. So everybody in that town, the median weight is like 350 in that town, and that's I'm joking.
I'm enjoying a Wild Bill's butterscotch soda tonight.
Nice.
Oh,
How is it?
It's one of my favorites. It
Oh.
definitely, your first time through is kind of a challenging flavor, but you grow very accustomed very quickly.
Cool. I do want to mention everybody who's watching, if you have any questions for anybody on the panel or for all of us, or if there's anything on your mind that you want to discuss, go ahead and throw that out there. We'll be taking some requests here as the night rolls on. But let me ask you guys, have you seen anything good lately? Monty, I know you just got back from Spider-Man.
Oh,
How
it
was
was
it?
nuts. It was absolutely nuts. I freaking loved it. I'm a longtime Spider-Man fan. I've been a Spider-Man fan, I think, since I was about 5 years old, watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends on NBC in the 80s. So, that cheesy 70s TV show. But it was absolutely fantastic. It was a fun movie that it really brought back that sense of joy. Like, remember when we watched movies when we were children? And you just be like, wow. Remember when you saw the Goonies for the first time when you were like that? Or Gremlins, and just like that happy feeling. That was like what happened with me. It was, I don't want to give anything away, but either way, I was having so much fun. I literally could not stop physically moving in the movie. My leg kept tapping and stuff.
Wow.
When you watch a cool action movie, you see Jet Li do some cool stuff and you go whoa, it was physically making me move. I was getting chills. It was great, man. I loved it. I just loved it. I almost busted a little tear out the side of my eye. Like that's how much fun I was having. It was great, man. Spider-Man is sentimental for me.
I'm excited.
So I loved it, man.
I'm excited that somebody's so excited about any movie. Like, honestly, Monty, like, that's just so refreshing to know that something is that good now.
And believe it or not, I'm actually looking forward to it, and I'm going to see it next week. I know, surprise, right? I like something, but it's true. Spider-Man for me is the hero that I grew up with. That's always been my favorite. Being born in the late '60s, I grew up with that old school Spider-Man cartoon that I'd watch after school, and that was Spider-Man to me. Because really, before I was reading comic books, I was, Adam West was Batman, and that was Spider-Man. And that was my introduction into that world. So I think throughout the years, Spidey's always been my favorite sentimentally, and I like the Tobey Maguire movies for the most part. Thought they were pretty good. Spider-Man 2 is probably one of the best superhero movies ever made. Definitely showed them how it could be done. 3 was a disappointment. I can't defend that one. I did like Andrew Garfield, so I'm looking forward to when I heard that everything that's going on with this movie. I was like, hey, I saw the first of the new Spider-Man movies, and I wasn't really down with that, what they were doing, so I skipped the second one. But now that I see what they've done, it's almost like, hey, we're sorry about that, buddy. Here's our apology. You know what I mean? So I'm going to collect on my apology, and I hope to have a great time doing it.
Yeah, I was a Spider-Man kid growing up too. I always collected the comics, and just I don't know, there was something about Spider. Maybe it was Mary Jane Watson that drew me to Spider-Man. But yeah, I was a Spider-Man kid too. So
Santa waited on Spider-Man and watched the 1980 classic Puma Man with Donald Pleasance instead. So,
wow, that's very nice. I just wish we could have gotten the canon Toby Hooper Spider-Man. I just wish we could have got that Spider-Man.
Hold on, was he really going to do that?
Yeah, he was going to direct that at one point.
Because it wasn't canon, right?
It was canon, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Michael Dudikoff was going to be Spider-Man at one point.
How was Michael Dudikoff by then?
85.
He was too old. Yeah.
He was up there. Well, and I mean, Bronson and Norris were going to play bad guys.
Yeah.
In one of the movies, So
if you watch Cyborg, those sets they didn't use for Masters of the Universe 2, and I believe Spider-Man, all of them are recent. That's why Cyborg looks like such an impressive movie.
I love
Use
Cyborg.
what you got.
I love Cyborg too.
Fucking love Cyborg.
Love it.
But it would be refreshing to see Spider-Man as an older gentleman, because we've had him. He's been stuck in high school forever. Can the guy graduate, please? It's like every time he starts to get a little bit older, they take him back to his teenage years again. That's like the only thing we get. And we got, even though the movie wasn't great, I liked Ben Affleck's take on Batman, the 50-year-old Batman that's just pissed off. Again, he's wore down, and he's just completely nihilistic and doesn't care anymore. He just does his job like a robot with no emotion. We never had that Spider-Man. You know what I mean? We never got something like that where we see he's a smart ass. He likes fucking with people, and and he's got the job, and the guy that played J. Jonah Jameson in the Maguire films. Perfect. He did
Schillinger from Oz, or
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons knocked it out of the park. That was beautiful.
I want to see
Spider-Man grow up a little bit. Let him be Spider-Man. I'm kind of tired of the Spider-Boy.
Yeah, I want to see the overweight, twice divorced Spider-Man.
Yeah. With four kids,
who's got to pay child support, and he maybe drinks a little too much. He's got like a beard, and he's just like, ugh.
I want to see
his webs are running out.
Spider-Man who's been around too long with spider venom in his veins, who's starting to transform into something else, and it becomes a Cronenbergian horror fest, body horror.
I'm down with that.
That's a good idea.
That would be nice.
Pitch it.
With
Disney
Charles
will never
Bronson.
sign off on it,
Disney's gonna be like, yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, pitch it as a comic storyline.
Well, technically, I think Sony is still the primary rights holder to the character.
Yeah, but
they're split, aren't they?
They understand
and what they've
that,
done with Venom, they might meet you halfway.
Well, maybe.
Okay, this is recording now, so if they try to steal it from you.
Good, go for it, guys. I really don't want to write it.
We got your back.
That's my idea.
Do you think Tom Holland can sell the insect politics speech? I don't know.
Yeah, he might be able to. I mean, he went pretty
Maybe.
deep in this. He went pretty deep in this new one. It was pretty emotional, I thought.
My only concern really is that it still has that Marvel. Everything is too well lit. Everything is way too crisp look to. Even the trailers, what I've seen, and I desperately want them to get away from that. Have some freaking shadows in your movie somewhere.
Yeah, like the Garfield films.
Maybe they'll do that with the new Blade movie. I doubt it, but maybe.
The Blade movie will be all like daylight on the beach shots.
I don't know about you guys, but are you guys, any of you, looking forward to Morbius? Because is it Mobius or Morbius?
Morbius.
I'm looking forward to that. Every time I've been to the theater, ever since October, I've seen that come up and that trailer come up, and I am stoked. It looks so good, and I love the Venom joke in there. I think that's funny.
I've wanted a Morbius movie for a long, long time. I'll watch it. I really hope it's good.
It looks good to me. I mean, I know how they overdo trailers and everything sometimes, but from the trailers, man, I'm stoked, and I never get stoked about Marvel ever. So this is exciting for me to finally want to see something.
Well, Jared Leto looks like he walks from the set of what was that Denzel Washington flick he did, where he was the alleged killer. What was that movie called?
Oh yeah,
I forgot
Little
that
Things.
The Small Things.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Things.
He looks like he just went from that movie and just stepped over and became a vampire on Morbius. That's exactly what he looks like. It looks good, man. Jared Leto always brings it, even in Urban Legend.
I can't believe that's him in House of Gucci.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's in my mind. He's
in
all
there?
made up. Yeah, he's the guy with the mustache and the bald head and everything. That's him.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's a chameleon. He's one of those guys who'll gain 100 pounds and drop 100 pounds to do a role, and yeah.
A morpher.
Yeah, I'll just pass on any more Jared Leto jokers. But yeah, I mean, I still really House of Gucci is way high on the list though.
Has anybody here seen House of Gucci yet? I'm planning on going to see it, but I haven't got there yet.
I haven't. No.
Haven't made it.
No.
I'm working my way through the Oscar stuff, so it's on my list.
The last thing I saw in the theater was Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I have to say, guys, it was awesome. I cried at the end because I got so emotional. I felt like that 11-year-old, sitting in the theater when I was 11, and I went to see the first one, and it brought back all of these feelings. I was like, oh my God, I feel like, I'm sitting there in the theater when I was 11 years old. It was so cool. And, I should have known they were going to do that because, it is Ghostbusters, right? And of course,
A lot of people have had that reaction. It's apparently I've not seen it, but it's apparently very nostalgic, and
It's a kids movie.
So
it is.
It's
There are a
outright-
lot of kids
it's-
there.
it is long.
outright a kids
haven't
movie.
seen it yet.
And I don't know. I it's fine. I wasn't painful to watch, but it's just not for me at all. Because what I like about the original Ghostbusters is the dry humor, the fact that it was edgy without having necessarily a defined edge. I mean, it's kind of a movie for people in on the joke, and this thing just embraces the jokes. I was like, this is a miss for me, but it's not made for me, so whatever. Perfectly competent, and I hated the last act of it. I think the last act is ridiculously bad. But
Oh God.
yeah,
And I'm a Ghostbusters apologist, but yeah, man, please just. It was like, it was cringeness up in there.
I don't have a problem with fan service. That's great. I like when they do callbacks and things like that because we've been doing callbacks for years since the 80s and the 90s. I think I do have a problem with if you blatantly remake scenes.
yeah.
Literally. The movie's been out for weeks, but there's like things that are literally redone from the original film. And don't get me wrong, I love the movie. I had great fun with it, but I was just kind of like, wait, that's Rick Romanus did that. Sigourney Weaver did that already. Okay, fine.
mhm.
So
The highlight for me
I-
was the daughter. I thought she was
Yeah.
really, really good.
Oh, she's good.
She
What
was
were
a
you
funny
saying?
little character. I really liked her.
What were you gonna say, Susan?
Oh, I just had a question for you guys because I haven't seen it yet. And from what Monty was saying, is it kind of similar in nature to Halloween 2018, kind of replicating a lot of Halloween 78? Is it kind of like that with the original Ghostbusters, or no, not really?
No, because they had a direction to go with it, and I admire the fact they had a direction and went with that direction. It's just really not what I want from Ghostbusters. So, I mean, it's perfectly competent film. There's a couple of lines that are pretty awful in it, but I feel like they're studio note lines. But really, when you get to the end and they just remake the first film, and that's what they do. I mean, beat for beat, it's pretty awful at that point. Except when they, of course, the very end is just, I can't. Sam called it cringemas. That's where I'd start.
I'm wearing a damn Ghostbusters Christmas sweater right now. Let me see if there we go.
Model.
That's
Model.
awesome.
Nice.
But
Yeah. So I mean, like, look, I'm giant Ghostbusters fan here, and I mean, it's just a little. It's unfortunate when it's like, oh, it wasn't as painful as 2016, and that's a bar for an acceptable movie. So I mean, I enjoyed the first half of it. And I liked all the world building and the new characters, and they seemed to be authentic. And it felt like they were trying to go somewhere with it, and then it just kind of fell apart for me. So, I mean, I just say I hated it.
Can I just say that Paul Rudd is like the coolest summer school teacher ever, bringing in all those, movies for the kids to watch. I loved that. It reminded me of summer school. You guys remember summer school?
Oh, I love summer school.
I
Coming to Blu-ray.
that.
Mark Harmon.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that. I like that a lot. I
love
thought that was
Paul
kind of a
Rudd.
neat little thing they threw in.
We have a question. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I was saying, unfortunately, I missed it. I wanted to go see it, but I just missed my opportunity. But I will watch it sometime in the future, definitely. I'm a huge fan of the original, and to me, the original sequel paled in comparison to the original. Okay, so my expectations for a third attempt, or I guess it's a third attempt at a sequel, but are very low. So they just have to meet some very minimum requirements for me to give this movie a pass, because I already know nothing's ever going to be as good as the original. It was one of those magical moments that just came together and everything was right. That happens every once in a while. I mean, look at Halloween. The first movie was like that. The rest of the sequels are various forms of, less than, let's just say. They weren't able to replicate what made that movie special. You can't do that with Ghostbusters either. So I've heard some things. I kind of understand why people would be disappointed or disillusioned or whatever, but I've very recently lowered my expectations for everything, because I'm just looking for something to enjoy. I think the last couple of years, haven't we had like enough depression and anger and
No,
can't we just?
There's never enough.
Apparently, the producers of And Just Like That, the Sex and the City reboot, they thought we had not had enough sadness and bad things. I'm just saying.
But
Totally off topic. Totally not
That's
even
okay.
horror related.
I'm just gonna let it go and watch it and just take it for what it is from now on. No expectations, because I know that magic that went into making the original whatever, whether it be Star Wars or for Halloween, whatever, Ghostbusters, they're never gonna. That was a moment in time that will never be repeated. So I savor the fact that I was actually there for some of this and got to watch it in real time. So that's where my enjoyment from it is. But I know everything that comes out now is just going to be, at best a derivative attempt. But sometimes if they put some heart into it, I can see the effort there and I appreciate it. But so, yeah, I'm not going to trash the new Ghostbusters. It's just seemed pointless, really. I'm just going to try to enjoy it. Same thing with the new Spider-Man. I mean, at this point, the last time I was technically this excited for a film was like the first Avengers when it comes to Marvel, because they had like built up that world pretty good to introduce the Avengers team. Not that that movie was pretty much the apex of the entirety of the Marvel universe. They had a couple of hits since then for me, but most of it's been down. So my expectations are low too, because there's never going to be another Iron Man. That was a moment. Spider-Man 2 was a moment. These are inspired moments. The Dark Knight.
Oh yes.
I mean,
That's the pinnacle.
you can't expect replication of this type of stuff. So I'm just going to give up on doing it. I'm like holding them to an unfair measuring line, I guess. That's what I want, but I know they can't do it. So
Yeah.
just, now, I'm sorry, but there are some things like the Thing prequel piece of garbage should never exist, right? There are some films like that, Prometheus. But for the most part, I'm going to try and just take things at face value, try to find some enjoyment, and the next year's got to be a little better, right?
No. But before we move on from Ghostbusters, I just want to ask a serious question though, from a screenwriting standpoint. Like, does anyone? This was a big stumbling block for me. Like, people really don't remember that New York was a ghost apocalypse, and that
That's my issue.
Kaiju walked through the streets. Like, this is something that only a few people remember, and there's some obscure YouTube videos about. Like, every kid would know it. I'm sorry, no one needs the backstory explained to them. That is the stupidest moment this year.
I had that argument with the Flesh Wound guys, and they're like, well, there's kids now that don't remember 9/11. And I was like, it's a giant marshmallow attacking a city.
I'm not sure I really believe that. They know something about 9/11. But but beyond that, you're talking about dead people don't just die. We know that they're ghosts.
Yeah.
That's different.
And I didn't hate the movie. It was solid. I mean, I liked it.
I didn't hate it until the end. I mean, I'd say the last 15 minutes or so, I was pretty much in hate with it. But up to that point, it's kind of bland, and it's definitely a kids movie. And I mean, it feels like one of those young adult films, like Divergent kind of thing. That's what it feels like. And that's just not what Ghostbusters was to me. So I am with Mike though. There's no use beating it up too badly. I just
We've got some.
Not what I wanted.
We've got some Krampuses on the panel tonight. We do have a question in the chat for Christian from Joe Reese. He wants to know, how's that Kindred Steelbook?
It's good. Still get my money's worth out of it. It was good though.
Okay. The Future Boy would like to know what's our favorite Blu-ray release this year so far. Does anybody have a favorite Blu-ray release of this year? Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Lauren.
Creature. It's a really easy choice. There's some great films that were released on Blu-ray that are recent, like Saint Maud coming out. But Creature is a film that has not looked good since its original theatrical release. And a lot of us grew up loving it despite all the fact that we couldn't even really follow the movie properly. A lot of us didn't know what the monster looked like except for the box art or for our entire existence. And to see that film cleaned up, and it's very obvious what was meant to be tongue-in-cheek now, which was kind of masked by the bad quality of the video releases and television prints. So Creature, the great William Malone Alien ripoff, I think the best Alien ripoff. Man, that release from Vinegar Syndrome is absolutely worth your money. It's and they're not gouging on the title either, which I like, because they did on a few other titles, unfortunately. So it's just a great release all around.
Anybody else favorite Blu-ray release of this year?
For me, it was House of Wax. I've watched it 5 times since I got it. I really love that movie so much, and I think it looks so good on the transfer. I haven't sat down and watched the special features, but I will eventually, and I really enjoy that movie. So that's probably the favorite one I got this year.
Okay. Anybody else?
There's a lot. I will say that Full Car box set is, which I don't own yet, but I think I'm gonna cave. Is awesome. But as far as single releases go, Ebola Syndrome 4K, that was a dream come true. So, but there's a lot. This year has been amazing for box sets in particular. I mean, Era, Severin, Vinegar Syndrome. There's a giant box set to come out every month.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
Cold War Creatures is another one.
It has been a good year for physical media, definitely. Yeah. Anybody else? So Jamie, I think you said you had a favorite.
Yeah, I said House of Wax.
Oh, that's right, House of Wax, the screen cracker. Yes, that's right.
Piz just wasn't paying attention at all.
I'm sorry. I was looking through the chat for other questions. My bad.
No, that's all right.
Does anybody else have any favorites?
I finally got my hands on. Well, I mean, I think it's been like 3 years it took me to find it, but I finally got my hands on that Twilight Fright Night Blu-ray. That's like astronomically like $100 or $200 when you go on Amazon. I found it at half price books. That sucker was right on the bottom shelf. $20.
Wow.
I was like, done. Out the
That's
door.
fate.
Oh, it was fate. I was like, there it is. I had so much fun watching it. You get all the actors in it. You see from top to bottom how they put that movie together. You see raw on-set footage of Roddy McDowell. It's an insane Blu-ray. I love it. It's cool. And to hear Amanda Bierce talk about how she liked, let me rephrase, said, what's the guy's Herman's Head?
William Ragsdale.
Yeah, Williams Ragsdale, that he was a good kisser. I was like, oh, okay. She didn't use the words enjoy, but she said he was a good kisser. And I was like, oh, okay, we're getting some real actors' insight here. It was, it's a fantastic Blu-ray.
Between him and Chris Sarandon, she got a lot of action in that movie.
I know. Allegedly, they didn't have. I'm going according to the Blu-ray folks. This is not me saying it, but apparently there was no chemistry between Sarandon and Bierce. Allegedly,
might make sense. Amanda went different direction.
Well, it makes total sense. But yeah, it came off good on screen because she's so awkward. Her character is so awkward and she's virginal. So I think it came off just the way it was supposed to come off.
Yeah. It's also because she was technically a high schooler, and Chris Sarandon was what 100,000 or about 1,000 years old or something.
Oh yeah, he was like 1,000 years old. Oh, he's an old pimp.
At that point, everything's a statutory problem, though.
I love that seduction scene in that movie when he puts on the and she kind of gets nervous and she goes, "All right," and he just stops her halfway, just like, "Don't talk."
That is that is good. That is good. Yeah.
And you see how he pulls her in? It's it's heavy.
Yeah, it is. That is heavy.
But you guys, is it just me, or am I the only one that when I'm watching movies and I know that these actors are 18 to play younger or whatever, but whenever they're supposed to be in high school and they're doing like overtly sexual things, I'm like, this just feels awkward for me as a viewer right now. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I get that too now. I think maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to see any of this. Y'all are children.
Yeah, I guess it's true. It's like when you are the same age, it's like normal. But then when you're older, it's like
Chucky. Yeah.
Don't watch Ken Park. Don't watch that.
No.
Don't watch that movie.
Ken Park is a rough watch even without that.
Yeah.
I have the same problem. Being older and revisiting some films that I used to enjoy in the 80s, it's a different experience, and it's not the same, that's for sure. I mean, the first time I saw Porky's, I about pissed myself laughing. I'm sure it would still be funny, but I'm sure there'd be parts in there that as an older guy, I'd probably be like, well, I understand why I enjoyed it so much, but now it's a little weird. But it's all perspective. Just getting older, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's like I remember what it was like to be young, but now I get to see what it's like to get older. And I'm like in the middle of the two perspectives right now, and it's freaking mind blowing. I'm at the age where like people in their 80s are like, "Oh, you're just a young guy," and people in their 20s are like, "Get out of my way, old man."
Mike, isn't it the weirdest thing to go to like Starbucks or McDonald's and like the kids behind the counter call you sir? It's so weird to me. Like
I punch him.
Yeah, it's weird. They're like, "Oh, thank you, sir," and I'm like, "Sir, like really? I'm your dad? Like really?" I feel that same way when I watch Kids now. You guys remember that movie Kids from the mid '90s?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Kids makes me. Oh God, that movie makes me vomit now. As a 40-year-old man, at the time, I was like, when I was 12, I'm like, this is excellent. Let's watch it again.
Wait! You were watching Kids at 12?
Yeah, that movie came out when I was about 12 or 13.
No wonder you're here.
I was a full adult when Kids came out, and I remember sitting in the room. It was during college, and we were all in my room, my dorm room, watching it. Not dorm room, but apartment, and watching it. and everybody got real quiet, and I was like, I feel super uncomfortable. I feel super uncomfortable watching this in this room with all my friends around, because I wanted to say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And I actually think I did say that a few times, but I remember feeling extremely uncomfortable because, see, I was like 22 or 3 when that came out. So I felt like, what am I looking at? Is this how kids today really act? Oh my God. I thought the world was ending. I was like, this is terrible. But, it's Larry Clark, so we know.
There's a documentary out on that movie right now that makes it even rougher, because quite a few that went down a dark path after that film.
Yeah.
Really?
I'd like to see that documentary.
Yeah, Justin, what was the one guy, the guy at the end of it who's like, what happened? Yeah, he met a very dark end.
Yeah.
Did he pass away?
Yeah.
There were a few. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Rosario and Chloe, I mean, they did okay, but yeah, there's a lot of cast in that lived their characters out, unfortunately.
Does that make it an unofficial Poltergeist sequel?
No.
You can always just double down, watch that film with your friends at that age, and then just as a palate cleanser, watch Spanking the Monkey with your parents.
Oh, I remember thinking that was on like HBO.
Yeah, all the time.
And I thought, this is hilarious. This is a good comedy. And then it's like Jeremy Davies is like banging his mom, and I'm like, better.
And she's in a cast. It's not right.
Yeah.
You've got to fit
it's not
happiness
just-
in there
yeah.
somewhere too. You've got to find room for happiness in there somewhere too.
Happiness is tremendous, though.
It is, but it is so hard to watch and so hard to listen to that conversation between the father and son there when he was asking him about it. It was just like, I can't watch, I can't listen. That's a disturbing movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What really, really good.
Sam, I know we're running out of time on you, but have you seen anything good lately?
I mean, I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night, and of course Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I'm still trying to make it to part 3 right now.
Oh, don't bother.
I'm a completionist, damn it. I did actually just finish watching Slacks before I hopped on here. Because I saw it on Twitter. Somebody was talking about what's a movie you thought wasn't going to be good, but turned out better than you thought. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch Slacks. And I mean, it's fine as a dark comedy. It's, maybe not exactly, it's obviously not scary. And, even putting it in the horror category might be a little kind. But I thought there were some really good, they really nailed the whole sycophantic environment of working retail, especially in a clothing store. And the thing is, the name of the clothing company is CCC. And they say it so many times, and there's so much propaganda that every time I hear CCC, I'm like, CCP, and it's no, bitch, CCC. So, but what kind of got me, I was a little let down by the ending, because, I'm sorry, Slacks has been out for a while. If you haven't seen it, you've had plenty of time. So, the genes are killing people, and it kills one gal in the bathroom, and there's a sign, because you've got all of this nonsense about, theft hurts us all. And of course, it's only where the employees can see it, because clearly the employees are definitely the ones stealing the most. I could go on a separate rant for that, but I won't. And then there's one in the bathroom where it's about cleanliness is everyone's responsibility. And the pants mop up the blood and move the body.
What?
But the problem is I got my hopes up, and I'm like, oh, the evil genes are just are corporate stooges as well. And I got kind of excited, and then it turns out I was wrong, and I was like, what was the point of that scene? But not bad. I had fun with it, and you know what? It's a really good movie to like fold laundry or do your nails to. I did my nails today.
Good Bollywood dance number, the genes too.
That was a little much, Humor is like, just do we have to do everything in this movie? I'm like, I didn't hate it. It definitely was better than I expected. Not sure if I'd want to have it on DVD to watch multiple times. I think once is kind of enough. But I thought the whole thing about like working retail and being a lifer and being in management and being a lead and having those dynamics, that was way more interesting. And also, you know, again, just darker aspects of people and their messed up personalities that we don't often get to see portrayed correctly. And I say that having been a sycophantic lead and a sycophantic manager. So
You used to have to give those approvals, Sam. Those price reduction approvals. Did you argue about price reductions and coupons with customers and get cursed out?
I argued about coupons with customers.
But can I use the
and that was when I
coupon
was
that I
not a
forgot?
manager. Oh God. That was a
I still
nightmare.
have flashbacks. Oh, God.
Customer service is still a terror. And everybody needs to be nice to your customer service reps and your cashiers and your food service workers, or I will come and haunt you. I swear to God. You should do that every day of the year, not just at Christmas.
Well, but especially this last year and a half. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
People are like legit out there risking their lives and not getting monetarily rewarded for it. So
Yeah, no, this is true. They kind of touch on the whole corporate, in the Black Friday movie with Bruce Campbell and Devin Sawa. They kind of touch on that a little bit in there about,
Yeah,
and that's a fun movie. If anybody's not seen it, that's a fun movie.
I haven't seen that. It sounds good to me.
anything with Bruce Campbell is like 10 out of 10 for me.
And Devin Sawa.
Anything?
Love him.
Has anybody?
Bruce Campbell, guilty, not guilty pleasure.
You might like. He's not. Don't expect him to be Ash in this one, but I kind of liked his character arc in the film because he starts out as that very kind of, he's the corporate manager.
Yeah.
His dream job is to be like the manager of this toy store, and he's way too about it. And so,
what's this movie called?
Black Friday.
Black Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up and watch it.
Has anybody else seen the Advent calendar? I know Dan, you have.
I want to see it.
It's on Shudder. I really loved it. Definitely check that out. That might
great
be one
French
I add,
horror movie.
Yeah, that might be one I add to the rotation every year for holiday horror. Really fun movie.
Not Christmas themed, but I did watch Medium to a Thai Korean co-production, and I like that quite a bit. Also on Shudder if you haven't checked it out.
What was it called, Dan?
The Medium. It's kind of a unique possession type movie.
Oh, cool.
There's
I
two
think
cuts
you'll
of
like.
that thing out there.
I heard something about that. Yeah, I watched.
There's a
whatever
longer television cut, but apparently it's not on anything. If you didn't see it on television over there, you didn't get it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe someday there'll be a double dip for that.
Lauren, I know you've analyzed all the extended footage on the Halloween Kills extended cut. Can you tell us about it? I'm joking. We do have a serious question from our friend Jess. Shout out to Jess, Cable Channel 11. He says, does the panel have any favorite non-horror Christmas movies?
No.
Yes.
Lord.
Yes, A Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's a good one.
We just revisited that this past week, and Mr. Sam guessed what the DVDs that Santa was bringing were, and Muppet Christmas Carol's one, and Scrooged is the other. Although that's definitely horror adjacent. But no, I still, Muppet Christmas Carol still holds up so much. It's still hilarious. Yeah. So, on that note, I have to ask. Who are the region-free Muppet counterparts?
That's not even a funny question.
I think I'm Miss Piggy for obvious reasons.
The hippie one. I'm the hippie one with the long blonde hair. The one in the band.
I only know like 2 Muppets, so
which one is the drummer that's always freaking out?
Animal.
That's me.
It's my favorite.
I'm always freaking out.
Christian, thank you for moving. I thought you were a still for a long
I want to be Gonzo.
Yeah, I'd probably say that, Piz. Like the same thing. Like I'd probably be a cross between Gonzo and not Ralph. Who's the other one? Fozzie.
Fozzie.
I'd probably be a cross
Fozzie.
between Fozzie and Gonzo.
I still have a Fozzie bear around here somewhere.
Oh, I love Fozzie.
My
Me
dog
too.
has a Fozzie bear. I bought it for him. I'm like,
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
Oh, that's
Wait a minute.
awesome.
Big Cracker. I'm Big Bird.
Big Bird.
Yeah, Big
Bird is
Bird.
from Sesame Street. He's not from Muppet Babies.
Oh, that's
Muppet.
right. Yeah, that's right.
That's a
They're
Muppet.
all Jim Henson, though.
Yeah, that's
Hell yeah.
Well, they were all together and followed
Wait,
that bird.
well, Piz, wouldn't you be Kermit? Because you're kind of the one in charge here. You are the moderator putting everything up, so you are technically the Kermit.
Let me see if I'm Kermit. Hey,
But you need to go, yay, a few times.
Hey, did anybody, when you were a kid and you saw that first Muppet movie, did anybody trip out on the scenes where they were riding the bikes through the park?
Yes.
Oh, you see
Used
their
to
legs
trip
and stuff
me
moving? Yeah.
out
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Like I was like, they're right. Like Kermit rides a bike, Piggy rides a bike. What? I
Wait.
still don't know how they did that.
Mike, I think it's obvious that we're the critics.
The two in the
I-
balconies.
I-
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that.
Yeah.
That has been already
yeah.
pointed out in the chat.
Oh, in the balcony.
Yep, exactly.
The balcony
funny.
guys. I forgot about them.
Those two are awesome though, and they're my mom's favorite. And speaking of my mom, happy birthday, Mom! I just in case she's watching.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Jamie's mom.
Happy birthday.
She watches, so she follows you, Piz, on Facebook. I see her liking your stuff a lot.
Oh, wow. Well, that's cool. Yeah.
Shout out.
I do want to mention. Yeah, shout out to her. Thank you.
Yeah. She would not want me to say how old she is today.
85.
No. She was young when she had me, so
I do want to.
84.
too much older than me.
Stone, who could not make it tonight, he does say Merry Christmas to everybody here. He says that he's going to be doing a 50th anniversary audio commentary for A Clockwork Orange on Sunday night and Harold and Maude on Monday, and it's going to be open to anyone who wants to join in.
Clockwork
So
Orange.
that will be
Clockwork Orange is awesome.
that will be
Yes.
over on his channel. He also says to everybody on the panel, Merry Christmas. Gifts are on the way.
Aww.
Oh.
Thank you, Stone.
Merry Christmas,
of you.
Stone.
Oh, thank
Merry
you. Merry
Christmas,
Christmas.
Stone.
Christmas Stone.
Yeah, very nice.
And thank you for the
Does-
gift you got me last year, Stone.
Yeah, he got me. I think he got you and me the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did the cream work, guys?
It was more of an ointment.
Well, on that note, I will depart. I don't even. I'm glad I don't have to follow that. That's a hard joke to
That is.
repeat, so I'm gonna go ahead and peace out for now. But thank you for having me on. I hope everybody in the chat and on the panel and everybody that I've met through here is having a awesome holiday season, regardless of what it is you celebrate. I don't really care. You know, we all celebrate differently, and that's cool. And I hope the new year is better than this year, because hopefully years get better as you go by. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Y'all have a good night, okay?
Yeah,
Merry
take care,
Christmas,
Sam.
man.
Have a Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Bye, Sam. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Okay,
I know
so
it's
I love A Christmas Story. Does anybody else like A Christmas Story? I don't know.
Me,
I
that
could
was the one I
I
was
love,
gonna
I
say.
love the Christmas.
That's
I
a great
watched the
movie.
24-hour marathon. I do. It never gets old. I
It
don't know
never
why.
gets old.
I'm never sick of that movie. I
I
stand
love
that
the
movie.
end when they go to the Chinese restaurant and the guy comes out with the meat cleaver and cuts the duck's head off, and they all laugh. Because when I saw that at the theater when I was little, when they all laughed, I was totally shocked at that. I was like, they laughed, but it was funny. So I really like that movie.
And to think that was directed by Bob Clark, who
Yeah.
Black
I know.
Christmas, and I think he did Porky's too, didn't he? I brought up Porky's
did.
earlier.
Did
He
he?
did
Oh,
like
yeah, he
back
did
to
Porky's.
back.
I didn't know.
That's
Children
that's
shouldn't play
a
with
that's a
dead
weird
things.
whiplash move right there. You go from Porky's to A Christmas Story, but dude was talented. He pulled it
think
off.
he
That
was-
that's awesome.
I think he was a very underrated filmmaker. When you look at his body of work, he had successes in literally just about every genre.
A
So,
classic in every genre, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he was a really underrated filmmaker, and it sucks that he's no longer with us.
It does. It does. You know, it very lowbrow. Well, lowbrow, but more clever than it gets credit for. I will say the Beavis and Butthead Christmas special is hilarious.
I've never seen it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it existed. This
Yeah.
is exciting.
There's an It's a Wonderful Life segment where they try and convince Butthead how great the world would be if he was never born. It's more you might be hearing it and thinking like, I'm not going to watch that, but it is actually quite clever.
Yeah, it's funny.
I have high hopes for it. I mean, I'm an OG fan from back when it first came on. You know,
Yeah.
Watch the Ren and Stimpy, and here comes Beavis and Butthead, and it's just like, oh, this is a great time to be a young man. You know, it was good stuff.
Oh man,
But
Beavis and
so,
Butthead was hilarious.
I liked Beavis and Butthead to America. I thought that was a great flick. So I'm hoping this one's good too.
Yeah.
Should be. When you were telling me about it, I remember the writing style, and I was picturing it in my head how it would be presented by Mike Judge, and I could see
Like Beavis is a scholar, you know, he's not without Butthead around, you know. I do want to give a shout out to our buddy Garrett, Born to Be Rad, who's in the chats. How you doing, buddy?
Man.
Hope you're having a happy holiday season.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really technically a Christmas movie. I mean, it is technically a Christmas movie, but it came out in the summer, so it's kind of weird. But I do watch it every Christmas, and that's Eyes Wide Shut. I watch it every Christmas season while I'm wrapping presents. I don't know why. It's a morbid thing.
Yeah. Sex cults and
you guys, you know, I have an other side, right? You know.
Whoa, that's a little heavy.
It's odd that you're wrapping presents while you're. I mean that says that's a little Freudian too. I think.
Yeah.
You know,
unwrapping presents.
I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have already watched it once this year. I watched it while I decorated the tree, which I did all by myself.
Yeah, that's a great movie. That's a great movie.
It is so good. I really love it. And, you know, it's really kind of morbid and stuff for me to say, you know, it's a Christmas movie, but it really is a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they definitely spread a lot of joy in that movie.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of joy. Yes.
That's my favorite part.
Just
that movie
tie your significant other up to the tree and the garland and just have a good time.
Hell yeah.
Christian,
what's up?
Favorite Christmas song?
Ooh, good one.
I don't know. I have to think about that for a second.
What's your
I'm
favorite
going
Christmas movie, Christian? You didn't say.
Like
A non-horror one.
Non-horror.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Christmas Vacation and Bad Santa, and
Bad Santa's good.
I like the George C. Scott Christmas Carol.
That's my favorite
that's
too.
a good one.
Oh,
Yeah. Patrick Stewart's a good one too.
I like the super dark, grimy, grungy Albert Finney one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember that one.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I brought this up, I think, last week, but are there any fans of Mixed Nuts, the Steve Martin movie?
I never saw it. Cisco
He's
Cooper
real
lambasted that.
He's
when it
real
came
hit
out.
and miss with me.
Once again, fuck. Cisco
What
Bieber.
era is it from? Like
94,
70s, 90s?
You'll know the movie from the cover. I mean, it was wide theatrical release. It's kind of an odd one because he doesn't have his trademark gray hair, and they stuck the hat on to cover that up. But yeah, one that couldn't be made today. It's it's PG-13 comedy, but you look at that trailer and it's like, oh yeah, that definitely wouldn't come out today. The Liev Schreiber character in particular, and I believe it's Adam Sandler's first major movie. Has a small role in that one, but yeah, it's fun. Everybody sleeps on it, but it's a fun little movie.
Man, you know what I hate about that can't be made today thing? To me, and I know you didn't mean it this way, but when I hear people say that, it just makes me think, does that mean that audiences, 30, 40, 50 years ago were more highly intelligent and able to break down information than we are in modern times?
I was just
therefore,
thinking that
to
last
me,
week.
that's an insult to modern humans. It means we've regressed as a species because there's subject matter people could watch in the 70s that would make people cry today.
Yep.
What changed? The people changed.
The studios in particular, I think.
So, but just the way people take in stuff, it's like we're less mature in modern times. We're less able to process troublesome information or whatever. It's like we skip the adult stage. It's like everybody's now just an overgrown adolescent.
Yeah.
It's like
You know,
I
Mike,
mean, adults used to be able to handle some shit back in the day,
Yeah.
and it's like they think modern audiences, well, like we're morons. We can't handle the things that our four people could handle in the in the 60s and 70s. There was a lot of pretty. You watch some stuff, you go, wow, I forgot it was that off the chain back then. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
they
miss those
also
days when I was trusted to be an adult and be able to handle my shit. You know, I mean, that was part of learning how to survive. So
Yeah.
it saying that to me is an insult to modern people as a
Mhm.
society, and they should really like take a step back and look at that and go, wow, am I really less mature and strong and able to process information than somebody back in 1971?
And it wouldn't be considered edgy back in 94 too. I don't think anybody reviewed that movie and talked about how edgy it necessarily was. So it's interesting.
You know, Mike, what's really disturbing about it is what you said was awesome, all of it. But there's an understated thing that kind of folds into it, which is that if you ask anyone one by one, can you handle a movie like Hardcore starring George C. Scott? They'll all say, oh yeah, I can handle it. But I'm worried about other people, or I'm worried about young people getting access to it. So what we do is we deflect because we're uncomfortable. It's everyone else that we can't trust. So everything has to be basically a PG-13 adolescent comedy today. Even if it's technically a action film, there has to be so much comedy in it that it's safe. If it's a horror film, we have to diffuse the horror with humor. It's this whole mindset of we're protecting society from being
right.
But it's never about me. Oh, I could handle it. And it's the worst sort of narcissism. It was when society decides that it's okay to censor other people.
And that's one thing that I really, and I've talked about this many a times with folks. Is I don't like how they pull how everything is so pulled back now. I wish they'd still leave things open so that you, the viewer, have the choice to what you want to watch. So if you can't handle it, then you just don't need to watch it. It's mind-boggling to me. I think it was. I don't want to get too far on a tangent, but I was watching old school movie, Bill Paxton's movie, One False Move. You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a tough flick. I mean, that movie's tough. And I was watching it with one person, and with the opening scene, if anybody's seen it, it's really uncomfortable, and people start freaking out and it's horrible. And I'm like, but it's a film. It's a film.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's meant to be. It's meant to be a crime noir thriller. So it's meant to push some buttons and mess with you some. That's why we watch films, so we can have different experiences. I think that's the whole fun of film, is that you can kind of live vicariously through characters and feel different emotions. So if you feel discomfort, that's what it's meant to make you feel. It's not meant to be lovey-dovey. Life is not sunshine and rainbows. There's plenty of times every day where we feel uncomfortable. I don't understand why we have to make our, entertainment cookie cutter like that.
They also treat us like the collective audience is not very smart. Like everyone is just below average intelligence. Even like if we don't spell everything out, the audience will not be able to possibly understand this message. It's like, no, really. I mean, I don't know who that's directed at, but it's not me. But it seems like that is just kind of a pervasive thing in so many movies now. For a while, it seemed like it was just one or two movies were kind of, being condescending to their audience. And now it kind of seems like that's kind of going through a lot of different genres and different levels of movie making, whether it's like blockbusters or whether it's independent. It's just like, why? When did that all of a sudden become a thing that everyone that watches films is,
money,
not very with it and not very witty?
I think it's money because they want to play everything safe, all the time. Oh, if we make this small group of people angry, we're not going to make more money. We want to make these people over here, this small angry group, give us their money, so we can't upset them. That's what's happened, and it's happened in small pockets here and there and here and there, and now it's like this big collective. mess up.
Well, you know,
it drives
The
me
media
crazy.
is equal to blame on that shit too, though.
Yeah, because they push that narrative.
Yeah.
But you know, Jamie, you mentioned the dinner scene at the end of A Christmas Story.
Mhm.
Even by today's standards, I mean,
Going.
that scene would be considered. I'm surprised, you know, more people haven't hopped on that because it plays 24 hours a day on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, that somebody's not went, oh, wait a minute, that's a negative portrayal that's a negative stereotype of Chinese people. This movie needs to be, this whole sequence needs to be edited out of the movie. And then TNT or TBS or whoever runs it every year, like, yep, they're right, let's cut that part out.
Yeah.
But see, I also think that it depends, like what set of eyes, what's behind that set of eyes when they're watching it, right? Like,
well, and it wouldn't be an actual Chinese person that went, yeah, that's a negative. That's no, that needs to be removed. It'd be a white Karen in Nebraska who
I
went,
was
that
just
is
gonna say, it'd
insulting.
be a Karen.
That is insulting to Chinese people.
The Native Americans didn't give a shit about the team being called the Redskins.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, how many of us, when we watch something, can instinctively tell, is this meant to belittle or degrade or insult or mock someone's religion, ethnicity, whatever, and or is this supposed to just be, you know, in good fun as to that particular, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that wasn't the focus. To me, the focus was on the totally dysfunctional family, and this is the only place open on Christmas, and those people don't celebrate it, so they're just trying to, you know, wander their way through making this one family sitting there eating feel like they're having a good time on their holiday. I never took it as that even being the focus, but again, I'm just one person, you know, but that's the thing. It's like, I feel like if people don't know the intention behind it, then if they didn't take it that way, then just don't kill the messenger. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think we have
What
to be
about looking at it at
careful,
a
though.
positive point? Here's a family whose Christmas was totally wrecked, right? They go out to Chinese because nothing else is open on Christmas, and back then that used to be a thing, right? There were very few things open on Christmas.
Yeah.
You didn't have gas in your car, tough shit. Wait till after Christmas, it's closed. That's just the way it was. So they're going out trying to find some food after the neighbor's dogs destroyed their dinner, right? Well, they go to the Chinese place. I thought it was kind of a cool. Their horizons were broadened at the end of the film, and because they would have never went there had that not happened. So they spent their first Christmas at a Chinese restaurant, and then everybody made the best of it. The employees, the family, they all got into it and had a great time. And it was almost like, you know, a peace meeting between two different, you know, because like you said, they're Chinese, they don't celebrate Christmas, but at that point they celebrated together. I don't see the negativity in that or a stereotype. I mean, I you know what I mean?
It's just people, I swear to God, it's just people that want to sit around and have something to complain about. And they're like a minority. I mean, they're a small group of people, but they are loud. They are loud, and they make everybody all up in arms all the time. And I just think it's gotten to a point now where it doesn't end. I was watching or reading a conversation between these two girls last week about Twin Peaks and about the scene where Leland Palmer is killing
Laura?
No, the other one.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
The other one, Maddie. And how it's so awful and takes so long and it's so drawn out, and it must have been the worst possible thing that anybody could have seen on TV back then. And how could they even have done that? And oh my God, they'd never be able to pull something like that off today. And I'm like, what? Because, you know, I think that inspired a lot of TV that we get today, a lot of stuff that we see today. Some of the stuff I've seen in like Shameless, you know, it puts that to shame, you know? So I don't know. I don't understand this. I don't understand this idea that we can't have things and, you know, we can't have nice things. We just can't have nice things because somebody's always going to wreck it. Somebody's always going to come around and wreck it.
I think we have to be very, very careful. Because here's the thing. I'm going to champion the idea that people should be allowed to come from the wrong perspective, and that they should be allowed to be as offensive and loud and arrogant and 100% wrong. People should be allowed to put out product that is misogynist or racist or horrible in every way, because once you start saying there's a special category for people that they can't use a special set of speeches, at a certain point, you're no longer on the team of the people who make that decision of what qualifies as accepted speech, and you will get shut down. So the old rule of true liberalism is that we should always support people even when we disagree with them, their right to speak. That has been edged down, and we start to see financial interests get involved, and we know PG-13 is not PG-13 of 10 years ago. And there is no more R, if you haven't noticed. There's how many theatrical films come out R in a year?
John Wick.
What, 2 a month, maybe, tops? Used to be the majority of the product on the market.
Oh.
And the target audience is getting younger and younger, too.
Right. And I think what we're seeing is we're so worried about offending that it's becoming offensive. And that's a problem. When you treat people like children, when you think they can't handle anything that might upset them, that's a problem. I am not a parent, and I am not a black man. But if I was a black parent, I would show Birth of a Nation to my kid at 12 years old. You know why? Because they should be pissed off about it. They should be angry, and they should keep their eyes open for people who think like that for the rest of their life. You can use this stuff to a good advantage. So I will never stand with censors, no matter how they speak about respecting everyone, and they can make it as rosy as they want, but they're going down a path that will lead us to a very, very, very bad and restrictive place. It's just how it is.
And I think one of the things too is that it also depends on the intention of what you're doing with your movie, your film, whatever. You could look at something like, I'm gonna kind of go back to the point you were just making too, Lauren, but like you could look at something like me and Cam had talked about this, like the scene from the original National Lampoon's Vacation, where they go into like one of the hoods in Chicago. Now you could look at that today and be like, oh, it's horrible, but when you really clearly look at that scene, it's played comedically, like it's really making Chevy Chase look like a doofus. You know what I mean? It's clearly the joke. The joke of the scene is that he is so out of touch. And granted, the way that we're kind of portrayed in that scene is very exaggerated and over the top. That's what the movie is. It's these kind of over the top characterizations. And also too, as far as like, that's one thing. I don't agree with everything that Tarantino does. I think his fixation for slurs is a bit over the top. I don't think it's necessary to use slurs 1,000 times within a movie. I really just don't think it's necessary. But what I will say about Tarantino is that he has a vision and he goes with it. So I'll give him credit for that. I don't agree with him all the time. I think his fixation is weird in that sense. I don't see the fascination with that word, but I will say I do at least agree with the fact that he has a vision and he goes with it. And another part to that too is that I don't like the fact that they try to coddle these new kids so much that they aren't exposed to any kind of ugliness in real life. Because I know when I was a kid, like they used to show like those little TV movies about like racism in the civil, because it was the 80s and the early 90s, so you would still see in civil rights movies and stuff where black people get bopped over the head, or like it'd be something like they're going to the all-white school and they be getting called all these slurs and stuff. But I think it's important for people to see things like that and not be coddled, because you need to know what's really out here in the world. But when you keep coddling these kids and saying it's nice, you get out there and you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
So that's
you take away that material, and then they won't have a comparison.
Right.
They won't know if what they're seeing is really what it is, because they were never exposed to it young. Like, this is what to look for. This is the real thing.
Right.
This isn't hysteria or manifestation. When you see the real thing, you will recognize it, and that's great. And I miss adults talking like adults, whether a kid was in the room or not. It was just back in the day. Adults had their conversations, and they just expected us to, process it.
Right.
Yeah. And they
I was always around adults.
And they can't tell the I'm so sorry. They can't tell the difference if if they don't know the difference and they're not exposed to the difference, they can't tell the difference between where somebody's coming from. I mean, it's a different situation if somebody were making a movie today that we're talking about one of these older movies. But to me, if you erase the past, you can't see how far you've come. Taking that to a certain extent, only specifically about what we're talking about with certain movies. I mean, obviously there's certain things in movies that, you got to get rid of it. But for something like, say, like a Christmas Story scene or something like that, where, you should be able to see, okay, they didn't intend it that way, but now if we were going to remake this, we would see where it could be perceived. But again, then you start also going into the area that Lauren was bringing up, where then everything gets so censored that where does that go to? Like, there's everything in moderation, really. I think this goes across the board for everything.
It's like in parenting, if you don't let your child make mistakes, if you don't let your child fall down and hurt himself and cry over it, if you pick them up and carry them every time they cry, or if you constantly make a big fuss over every little boo-boo, they'll end up growing up and not being able to handle a lot of stuff. So that's why it's good to expose. Like I exposed my son to things so that he would be not afraid of things. Oh, you want to climb the tree? Some moms will be like, oh my God, get out of that tree. No, I'm not going to do that. If my kid falls out of the tree, he's going to learn not to climb so high. Right. So I just think that we coddle things too much. We make everything too safe. And when we do that, we stop learning,
Sure.
So.
There's not a lot of safe spaces in the real world.
No.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, well, look at the devastation that's gone on, like in Kentucky, and how they're having problems in Iowa, I think it was, with the storms and lots of destruction and loss of life. I mean, that's some really disturbing stuff. What I see in a movie is just a movie. And a lot of times it's within the context of the story that only pertains to the characters involved. You can't take that out and assign it to a real person, right? You can't be personally invested, like, oh, if somebody did that to me, but they're not doing it to you. It's a character in a movie doing it to another character in a movie. And it has nothing to do with you. Just watch the damn movie. If you don't like it, cool. Don't like it. Don't watch it again. But I'm with Lauren, as an old school liberal guy, I mean, I'm militantly anti censorship. I go for it. Make your damn movie. And if I like it, I like it. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. But, everybody gets offended by something, but you can't let that control you. You can't just walk around in a constant state of being offended and then looking for things to be offended. Are you really? Is that a good life to live, man? Are you chilling? You having a good time? That sounds terrifying to me, to constantly be in that kind of a state. So if I see something I don't dig, I'm just I pass, and I pay attention to things I do like, and I'm much happier for it. So why does it have to cease to exist before you can move on? I don't understand that thinking.
Right.
You're taking away choice from another person who may not share your same sensibility. There might be a group of people that movie applies to, but maybe not the general masses. That's why, films become cult films, like the old movies we all talk about, Evil Dead and stuff. That was just considered garbage back in the day, really, by your mainstream people. But and even though we've had groups of people protesting and shouting things out, and they never canceled anybody. I mean, Tipper Gore in the 80s with the music, they put little stickers on the CDs, but they didn't make the artists stop making music, and the record companies had to quit printing records because
it wasn't
to me,
until
it's just so insane.
It wasn't until
you want
Walmart
to cancel somebody's ability to feed their kids just because of a line they said in a movie or a movie they made or something. It's like, wow, man, that's ridiculous. It's scary to see people like I grew up around. Can you imagine if the satanic panic people had the power of the people today?
I know.
If any one of these fringe groups in the back that was like out in front of Saturday, was it Silent Night, Deadly Night? They're out there protesting. Moms, you killer Santa Claus, and it's like, well, don't take your damn kid to see the movie.
Yeah.
But maybe there's adults that find this shit funny. I do. You know, it's a decent flick. You know, it's actually great. Part
Mike,
2.
I hate
our
those
boy Eric.
bitches. Preach. No.
Our boy Eric, you know, he makes part 2. That's awesome.
He hates them too. That's true.
Yeah.
But these movies have a right to exist because there might be people that enjoy them. So who are you to take that away from them? I mean, that
Right.
so removing happiness from another person makes you happy. I think that says a lot about you.
Yeah.
If you can only be happy making other people miserable,
You know,
or
Mike,
constantly judging them, that's horrible, man. I couldn't be like that. So
you
that's
know,
my
Mike,
rant.
it's funny though, because like putting a sticker on a CD seems like an innocent enough thing until you realize it was what Walmart then used to say, we need edited versions of these albums or we won't stock it, which created a financial concern. So like we were discussing before, it's when companies get involved that the censorship happens in our society, because they view anything that is a risk financially as not worth it to them. And that's how people get their hooks into things that they find offensive and get them torn apart. Now, in music, having been there on the front lines of music retail during this whole period, I can tell you, it ended up benefiting a lot of artists because the music world expanded its distribution in response, and you didn't have to rely on just your department stores. Every town was getting their record store that was willing to sell it to them. I'm not sure that process is happening today in the same way, and that's the concern, you know?
You know, that's the difference I was pointing out, because I remember the sticker thing didn't bother me. That let me know which ones were the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I walk
I was
into
gonna
the
say
record
the
store, look at
stickers-
my section, and go, well, that's got a sticker. That's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, the stickers
So
made
it
them more
did more for
attractive,
record sales than it did to harm it. But when
But-
when those people actually get the, buy the right people, this really goes back to what Jamie was saying too. It's all about money. I mean, these people figure, well, this group's getting large enough, we might be able to, snake a little extra money off of them if we play their game for a little while, and then if another group pops up, it's business. It really, and the fact that there are some people out there really passionate about it, thinking that they're trying to save the world, and they're just being used for cash by these corporations. Man, that's pretty sad.
Yeah. Well, let's brighten, let's liven things up here, and we have a question from Ben Grimm who wants to know, what are the worst movies of 2021? So let's go from dark to dark.
Well, that's a pick me up, right? so after that rant, what sucked this year?
What's the worst? He wants to know, what's the worst movie of 2021?
I can't
Man.
argue this point, because I feel in order to give a proper response, I would had to have seen as many movies released this year as possible, because I can't say something's bad if I hadn't seen it, and there might be something worse out there than what I saw. So I can't say what I saw was the worst, and I can't say what I didn't see was the worst. So I didn't make it out too often this year, so I can't really say, just for that reason.
Out of the things that I went and saw in the theater, and that's all I'm going to count from, I'm not going to count from, anything I haven't seen, but out of the things I personally went and saw at the theater, I think Spiral is my least favorite. So, and it's not that it wasn't good. It was. It's just that compared to the other things I went and saw, it just seems to pale in comparison. So I'm going to have to say Spiral for me.
Okay. Anybody want to throw in their own worst?
I wondered if Dan and I are going to come up with the same title.
Yeah, it's a broken record at this point, but yeah, Halloween Kills for me. I hated it. I hated everything about it. That's why Bloom ain't
I'm
getting
getting
shit for
bad
Christmas.
Santa vibes right now.
Dan, the funny thing is we don't have the same title, but hear me out on this, because I hated Halloween Kills as well. But no, The Unholy was the worst thing of the year, because it had a really great novel as a source behind it, the James Herbert novel Shrine, and they managed to just make a horrid film out of a great novel, and that's probably a worse crime to me than just making another bad Halloween sequel. I mean, Halloween Kills is not alone. It's not like they finally hit a wall and made a bad one, if you walk the Halloween minefield for more than a few steps, you're exploding with badness. So, but you have this great novel from James Herbert in his prime, and you make this piece of shit. Congratulations, you just won my worst film of the year award.
Yeah, The Unholy was pretty wretched. I'll give you that. Old was another one that I thought was actually
I passed on that. I didn't see it.
Worse than I thought. Oh, you'd have a field day with Old. But yeah, and I didn't like Candyman either. But I guess it's.
I was just gonna second that, Dan. I think the one that I saw in theaters, because like Mike and Jamie said, I just got to go off of what I saw. The one that pissed me off the most was Candyman. Candyman just enraged me. I was just like, what the heck? Because it felt like it was like, okay, all right, this is a new interpretation. All right, I'm with it. And then it just, God, that third act.
It had so much potential.
Oh God, it
had potential.
It was almost there. It was almost there, and man,
I will. So Candyman 2020, really 2020, just happened to have snuck out this year. Did provide me with my only laugh out loud in the theater moment, though. So I have to give it that. It wasn't intending to do it, but when the critic gets just slashed up against the window and dragged across, it's like a Geico commercial. It's so absurd. And it's supposed to be horrifying, but no, I was almost in tears with how funny that scene is.
I thought
that whole sequence was funny. I thought the whole sequence was just
so bad. So bad.
I just feel like Candyman kind of let me down. Like, when your dad gives you that talk, like, I'm really disappointed in you.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about Candyman. But I started to watch Old and I was like, no, we're out. Peace out. No. So that's my answer.
I mean, I don't know about worst of the year, but it was Halloween Kills for me was one of those, like it was close to being Rob Zombie's Halloween, like walking out of the theater and being like, do I even want to go on?
With life?
Yeah, it was just like
walking into traffic movie.
But so I mean that would be my least favorite movie of the year. I won't say worst because I didn't see everything, but it just did.
It made me nostalgic for the lockdown. Really, I mean,
hell yes.
I didn't think it was that bad, but it was still pretty bad. But I didn't see a lot of other films, so I don't have a lot. I didn't see Candyman, so I don't know which one I would think was worse. So just to be objective and fair, out of the ones I saw, the low-hanging fruit is Halloween Kills. I mean, that's just like not a surprise, right?
Yeah.
I almost feel guilty, I feel like I'm beating it in the middle of the street with a baseball bat,
Which they do in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Anthony Michael
what
Hall
they did to
in
my
there.
brain with that. Never mind. So that's kind of low hanging fruit. I understand Spiral though. That was a weird one. I kind of, I don't know, not liked it. I thought it was pretty good. So that would definitely be in running for one of the lesser titles I saw, but I didn't see that many. So. I don't know. If I thought Mortal Kombat was pretty good, it must have been a weird year.
I enjoyed Mortal Kombat too.
I still haven't watched it yet.
I mean, it's got issues. I mean, it definitely needed more time in the oven. That's for sure. But I don't know. I was fine with it. It had issues, but
it didn't make my top 10 of the year. But it's. I think it's fine, and it's not the worst in a series, so whatever.
Theatrical horror wasn't strong this year, generally speaking.
Let's talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about some of the. Why don't we each recommend like three of our favorite movies of this year to the audience?
Absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead, Santa Dan. Gift us with your three favorite movies of the year.
Well, As far as I mean, I think we've talked Saint Maud a lot, and that's certainly up there. So, Night House, which surprisingly a lot of people just haven't seen. I really like that. Titane, which you may not think it's for you, but I'm surprised how many people that there's like, I watched that and I wouldn't think it'd be my thing at all, but I loved it. So give Titane a try. I think Censor, Gaia, for sure. Both of those are, I think, awesome. You had to dig a little bit more this year. I'll add The Medium, which I literally just watched. You can dive into that on Shudder, and yeah, it wasn't on the big screen this year, or if it was limited.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Monty?
I actually don't have any this year, Piz. I've been to the movie so little this year that I cannot think of anything right offhand that was the best that I've seen this year.
Well, take some notes from our suggestions, and maybe you'll see some good
I've
stuff.
really been wanting to see The Night House.
Yeah,
because I heard that was crazy, and I've been wanting to see that for like a minute.
Yeah, it's really good. I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit, Monty.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. And that other one that I've been on my watch list, Female Terminator. What was it?
Lady Terminator.
Lady Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah, not this year,
Not
but
this
yeah,
year.
Not even close to this year.
But I still highly recommend
But that's
it.
from like what 87 or something like that.
Still
Early
highly
90s.
recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My God, what a movie! They don't make them like that anymore, unfortunately.
They do not. They do not.
Because there's laws.
Let's see, Christian. What were some of your favorite movies of this year? Your three favorite movies of this year.
My favorite was Dune.
Yeah.
I like Malignant a lot, and I really like this little. I think I talked about it before. It was a little RLJE movie. It was called Jacob's Wife, where Barbara Crampton gets bit by a vampire, and Robert Russler's in it. I thought that was pretty good. So I guess that's it. Yeah.
We Need to Do Nothing's another one everybody might like. Quirky one. It's not for everybody, but I've given like 10. I'm sorry.
Susan, do you have any favorite movies of this year? Do you have three?
Yeah, well, I mean, I watched everything on streaming, so I loved the Fear Street trilogy. That's just me. So I really like that. Night House, Malignant, mine are pretty much the same. I mean, there was nothing that I really, really, really loved, like over the top, like super excited about this year, but there was also nothing that I really couldn't stand, except I did turn old off, but so
doesn't get better.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I like the idea of streaming more horror series and movies, and just kind of that, where series kind of feel like one long movie. I kind of enjoy that. So I would probably say, Fear Street as far as enjoying something, because I like the time jumping and just, really kind of fleshing out all the time periods that did. So you kind of felt like you got 3 separate horror movies in one. I don't know. I enjoyed it. So that's
Did you see
my
Midnight Mass yet, Susan?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you might like that.
That's probably the best TV show I watched this year. Maybe Squid Game, but I would go back and forth.
I still haven't seen Squid Game because I just felt like the premise was kind of like rude, and then I saw, and then I saw
Koreans can make a damn show. Let me tell you.
Well, I mean, on the news they were talking about they had these teachers scrounging around on the ground for money to put in their shirts or whatever, and I'm like, I haven't even seen Squid Game, but that felt very classist or whatever. I don't know. So I know everybody loves it. I just don't know why I'm just unmotivated to watch it. Like,
you got to put it into perspective. A Korean show caught on in America. You really got to think about that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's great.
What I'm saying is it's that good because people had to read to watch it. Is what I'm saying. Like that's how good it was. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
That's how good it was. People were willing to read to watch this show because of how compelling it was.
I think for me, it feels too possible. Maybe that's really my deep-seated fear issue with it or something. It seems like
And don't turn on the dubbing. If you just read it, don't turn the dubbing is awful.
Oh no, I
Awful.
never do. I much prefer. I don't think I've ever I can't stand that. I just let me read the captions and take in the actors' performances.
Might have been last or the tail end of last year, but 30 Coins, the De La Iglesia film, not film, TV series is also one that people should check out.
Jamie, do you have 3 favorite movies you could recommend?
I have at least 2. I can try to think of a third, but I definitely liked Don't Breathe 2. I thought it was awesome. I know people didn't like it so much because they kind of it's taking somebody bad and kind of making you sympathize with them, but I kind of like that. I thought that was interesting. I want more on the edge kind of things like that. And the other one, and this is probably one of my favorites of the year, is Last Night in Soho. I loved it. The music, the clothes, the colors, the filming style, all the shots in the mirrors, the doppelganger kind of thing. I mean, it was way up my alley, and I really loved it. I really did. But
I know Stone really liked it too. He loved, yeah, he loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I had, out of all of the movies I've gone to see, I think that one was the most enjoyable for me. But I did have a good time at Halloween Kills. I really liked Halloween Kills. I know you guys didn't.
It's me.
I really did. I thought it was fun. And I was there. I didn't go in with high expectations. I just went in there going, whatever it is, it is. And I ate my popcorn and had a good time watching it. And that's all I wanted out of it. So as long as I got that out of it, I was okay with it. So that's my 3 pretty much.
Okay. I'll throw a couple out there. Dan mentioned one of them, Titane. I really liked Titane a lot. That movie blew my mind. It's one I think you probably need to watch at least a couple of times to sort of fully grasp what's going on in there, because there's a lot going on. And really loved that movie. The Advent Calendar, which I mentioned earlier, that one's on Shudder. I had a really great time watching that one. And I know Nico is a big fan of The Stylist. That was I really enjoyed that film a lot this year too. So that would be 3 that I'd say seek out.
I love an ending too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great ending. What about you? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Lauren, what do you got?
I'll just run through. I mean, my list is my list. There's a few things I didn't see this year that I want to see that I think might be able to bump their way on. But favorite film of the year was also the first film I saw in theaters this year, which was Saint Maud. Stone cold masterpiece. It's one of those films that people are going to be studying about how to do good character studies in the genre from now to the end of the genre. But also a very similar film, Censor. If you have not seen Censor, see Censor and watch it a second time to catch all the subliminals, because there's a ton of them. Zombie Ready came out this year. I was lucky enough to see it in the theater. If any film can make you excited about zombie movies, again, it's Zombie Ready, which has to be just one of the finest examples of a zombie comedy ever. I'd put it up there with Shaun of the Dead easily. An action film is actually on my list, Cop Shop, a film that kind of came and went. No one paid much attention, but it feels like an actual action film from the 80s or 90s. My God, they made something with stakes and with characters that are not afraid to be what criminals really would be. They don't offset all the dramatic moments with jokes. It's a real action film. Gaia, amazing film, especially when it came out after In the Earth, which is a horrible film with a similar premise. I went right back to my childhood with Godzilla vs. Kong, which I don't care that it's a 10-hole project. I had a freaking ton of fun with it, and it brought me back to being the 12-year-old in front of a black and white UHF channel in my grandmother's house, which is now my house. There's a Irish film called School's Out Forever that you should really check out. It's an adaptation of a young adult dystopian type novel, but it is amazing, and it's more emotional than you're expecting. Another Indian film called Hearts Never Forget. One of the wildest things you can ever watch in life. And when I saw it in the theater, I was the only one of my ethnicity in the theater, and I think I enjoyed it more than anyone in the theater. I did really like *Malignant* and *Separation* as well. Neither one of them I think are perfect films by any means, but I was down for the ride, and I think both of them will get reevaluated in a few years in their proper light. So that's my top 10, actually.
Awesome.
Man, I don't have that many, but I have a few.
Go ahead.
Say, I really enjoyed Psycho Goreman.
Oh yeah.
That was available on Shudder and some,
I
I think
did
maybe
too.
Amazon. But it's basically some special effects guys had some money and they got together and made a movie. I loved it. I was laughing my ass off. I thought it was great. Another one, Fried Berry. I think that came out this year because it was first premiered this year. I think I saw it on Joe Bob's show. I love that movie.
Oh,
That movie
yeah.
is insane. The dude who plays Fried
Bonkers,
Berry
yeah.
is just he's
That's
amazing. I
crazy.
mean, he doesn't have to do much, but what he does is just so, I don't know, it's natural. It's just, and the story was hilarious, and so I really enjoyed Fried Berry. What was another one I was thinking of? Well, I did enjoy Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm an old school kaiju guy. I think it's right up there with Kong Island, Skull Island, for best of the new kaiju films. I think it's really good, and I enjoyed that. I said I enjoyed Mortal Kombat. It has problems, but for the most part, I think it's definitely the best Mortal Kombat product since the first film, at least. I don't know. It was another one I was thinking of. I can't remember it for some reason. Anyway, but there's some decent flicks that came out, and I wish I could have seen more. I wanted to see *Malignant*. I wanted to see the House movie. I wanted to see *Ghostbusters*, but shit, this year's been a bad year for me going to the movies, I guess. But lots of good stuff out there. If you look, if you know where to look, and happy hunting and enjoy.
Yeah. Well, let's start wrapping it up here. Do you guys have anything you want to say in closing? This is the last episode of Region Free for 2021. Anything in your heart, let it out. Now's the time. Let it out. Lauren, I know.
So
I can see it in you. It's bursting to get out.
Well, there is an aspect of Christmas that unfortunately never was really a thing in America, that I wish would be a thing in America desperately. And that was the English and also the Germans have a strong tradition of ghost stories being told on Christmas Eve. And it's partially the M.R. James thing, but it's also just cultural. And it was a different time when this began, I understand, because at the beginning of the last century. But it was a healthy thing to have a kind of dark reflection, because the themes of death and resurrection and light and dark kind of are what the holiday's all about. So these stories about dead relatives and old bad business deals and, the devil tempting people, I think provide the holiday with a little more depth and shadow. And I think a lot of people would really enjoy if we could get back to that kind of a tradition, even if we never really had it in America. So do yourself a favor, pick up one of the greats, even if it's the Dickens story, which we all know. But there's some great work by Algernon Blackwood that has been used domestically as Christmas ghost stories. Pick up a short story. You don't have time for a novel probably, but pick up a short story and read it. Maybe share that story verbally with someone younger than yourself. Try and get a tradition started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Anybody else?
Just want to say it's been an awesome year, getting to know everybody, and I think next year will be even bigger. Hopefully, a better overall year for movies next year. Maybe we can match the great 2020 again. And yeah. Merry Christmas.
I just want to say, I just want to tell you guys, I really like all of you very, very much. I look up to you all extremely. I mean, the fact that I was a fan of the Sausage Factory for years, didn't even speak in the chat, just watched you guys, and then now here I'm sitting is amazing to me. And I am so happy and glad to be a part of this. And I know I haven't been able to participate much, within the last season, but I'm trying to get myself back into the Peppy Jamie mode and get back in there. So hopefully I'll be on here a little bit more, but I've missed you guys and I'm really happy to be part of all of this. So, and thank you guys out there too.
Anybody else?
I think the coolest part about this past year was, well, and again, like everybody else has said, it's like even Mike was alluding to it earlier, was how I used to watch Sausage Factory way back. I've never said this on air, but I used to watch it way back in the beginning. And Piz was one of the first YouTubers that I used to follow. I've always enjoyed Piz's material way before I ever even was on YouTube or a part of this. And his stuff resonated with me the most. And then when he, finally invited me on in 2018, it's just been a fun ride, man. And then just the fact that I finally got to meet some of you guys in person this past summer in Kentucky, it was just a blast, man. So it's just, to not have this kind of stuff when you were a little kid and now actually have people that you can meet with across the internet who enjoy all the same things. I mean, this is mind blowing to me. So I'm just grateful that this platform exists and that, Piz, you invited me on and that I met all you guys, man. It's been a fun ride, man.
Yeah, I wish that little meetup in Louisville, I got to meet Lauren and Dan and some other cool folks. I missed out on the Saturday shenanigans with you, Monty.
I missed you by a day, Piz. I missed you by a day because I just asked the next day. I was like, where's Piz at? I was like, is he at the hotel? They were like, oh, he already went home. I was like, oh man, but yeah, Saturday was pretty.
Lauren was the bowling champion.
Well, that's true, but the more important idea is if you wanted to see people from the community invade a shopping mall and unironically invade an FYE and just see the difference in reaction of different people as we tore up the store.
Yeah,
that happened. That was a real thing.
What was that place we went into? The place where we were bowling.
Oh, well, so there is a little bit of footage of that if you want to. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, if you guys decide to do that again, somebody needs to FaceTime me. I feel like that would be very, very exciting to be a fly on the wall. And
stay tuned.
I'm trying to get tickets to go to Louisville in March for a Comic-Con that's going to have a whole bunch of Twin Peaks people there. So I don't know if you guys are interested in going to that.
No,
I might
put that up. Put that up. I'll come through. Jamie, when it comes, I'll come through.
And speaking of Twin Peaks, just real quick, I don't know if y'all know, but Queen of Hearts Act 1 and Act 2 is out. And it's fantastic. I mean, blowing my mind. I am so happy right now because I feel like I'm actually getting the Twin Peaks that I wanted. What I wanted from season 3, Cameron's giving me, which I'm very, very ecstatic about because I really, it's been a long time since I felt like, I was watching like the old Twin Peaks. And this is going to be a perfect bridge between the old Twin Peaks and the new Twin Peaks. And you guys got to check it out. I think it's going to blow your minds. And Cameron has such an eye for aesthetics that got to watch it, guys. You're going to love it. Oh, and right after this, I'm doing a watch along of Act 2 on my channel. So come on over.
Cool. Anybody else want to say anything in closing before we call it a night?
I'll just reiterate what I said kind of at the opening is that I'm grateful for everyone here and to be included, and just everybody is so cool, and to just not have just crazy stuff. Just everybody is just good people, very cool, very fun. We all share the same interests, and to be able to spend time and talk about it, I'm really grateful for it. I'm grateful for everybody. I'm glad that we're all here, and hopefully that 2022 will be even better than than this year was, and last year and 2019, and just a lot better. So yeah, so just thanks to everybody, and thanks to everybody, you know, watching that we talk to and that we engage with, and yeah, and especially for me, kind of having gone through it and been kind of off the radar and back on, and off the radar and back on. I just appreciate people being so understanding and you know, just being included to go along for the ride. So thanks.
Right on, right on. All right, well, let's call it a night here. Let me do some shout outs. Shout out to our boy Nico for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, sir. Let's see who's still with us. We got Orc in the chat doing his Orc thing, the Orcisms. We got Jeff Overing in the chat. We've got Ben Grimm, Punisher Batman fan. There's Jess. There's Garrett. The Daily Ghost. Cliff Booth. Megavania fan. Did I say Joe Reese? Dying Breed. What's up, Dying Breed? I know we had Mr. Sam in the chat for a while, so shout out to Mr. Sam. Jay the Stingray was in the chat for a little while. Stingray, hope you're doing well, having a good holiday season. Concrete Special was here with us tonight. Future Boy was here with us tonight. Our old buddy Big Crack Rock was hanging out with us tonight also. And Rye, the horror guy. So just want to say thanks to all you guys here on the panel. Thank you all for being a part of the show. It's always a pleasure. Also shout out to Sam, to Stingray, to Raiho, to Retro Cac, our old buddy Gibbs. Am I leaving anybody out here? MJ, who's been on a few shows. Nick from the Long River Drive-In, who's been on a few shows. Of course, our old buddy Stone. I think I may have covered all the bases there. But yeah, thank you all for participating in the show. Like I said, it's always a fun time hanging out with you all and talking movies. And yeah, it's been a fun. It's definitely been a fun year. So I wish you all a happy holidays, and everybody watching have a great and happy holiday season as well. We will return in the year 2022. So until then, take care. Have a great holiday season. And we wish you all the best in the new year. Peace.
Watch or be punished.
I was a mild-mannered